Good morning, everyone. I always forget to unmute my mic right whenever I start. So I look like those old TV shows where I start and the camera hops on and I'm like, hello. How's everybody doing today? How you doing? Good morning, Chris. Morning, Benton. Let's see. Let me pop out my chat here. Good morning, Abel. So, okay. All right, so let's go through this right quick. I am looking to see where is price drawing as always. All right, so what we're doing is if we look at our regular trading hours, we have this gap up, right? But let's go to the 5-minute chart because we had this gap yesterday. So finally, remember price just ran and dropped. And I said this area was like my buy side liquidity. Well, it finally did pull up here. Took that buy side liquidity, but it filled this gap finally, and now we gapped up. So let me mark that real quick. Our opening range gap. It was up here, the open. And then I will go into kind of what I'm seeing for the morning. 822.50. Okay. Now, where are we reaching up to? Let's go to the 15-minute chart. On the 15-minute chart, these were those highs that I mentioned yesterday. So it ran up, pulled back down into this fair value gap, did a lot of chopping, and then at the end of the day, it ran up and took that buy side liquidity. So this was not really good looking price action yesterday, but it made it up there. And so now on my 15-minute chart, I'm like, okay, where's it reaching up to now? I don't know. Can't see it on the 15-minute chart, right? But on the short side, I have relatively, like this right here, I'm really eyeing this level right here. I mean, this is clean, too clean. Okay? That's going to be my sell side liquidity, and that actually is the London low as well. So then you have this smoothness here. So more sell side liquidity. Then, of course, you have yesterday's low and last week's low. Now, if it keeps running up, I have to see where's it going. So I have to go up to my next time frame. All right, so I go up to the 1 hour, and we have a 1 hour fair value gap here. We have this high, which we reached above, and then I have to figure out where, because price closed here, right? So it filled all of these gaps up here. Now we have this 1 hour fair value gap. So I want to see if price can go through that. If it can, I have a daily volume imbalance right there from the daily chart. That's going to be this one. And we are reaching up into this fair value gap on the daily chart here again. And we are still inside this big, huge gap. So right now we're kind of in a little bit of a weird area because until price goes and displaces through some lows, I can't remain completely bearish, right? Because you look for displacement through highs and lows to kind of tell you if it's going to continue. That's like your key indicator. So if we displace through these lows, then I will be more bearish. If not, then I can't really be just one way or the other. So here on the 15-minute chart, I'm looking at these fair value gaps as well. And we have some imbalances and volume imbalances. Right here, which we just traded through, so I'm not even going to mark. Then we have all these, fair value gaps up. So if I am looking for a short to go to sell side liquidity, since we did reach up, we're drawing up, and now we're rebalancing this gap. We drew to this 1 hour gap. I mean, that's fine. That's a good draw for me. I do want to see what happens here in these 15-minute gaps. fair value gaps. And I want to see a market structure shift. But you can see how it, if you, and that's the thing, if you want to go short, right, you want it to go long first. So it ran right up there to that 1 hour fair value gap, and it's just dropping. So like today, I have a really good target to the short side down here. So if I get a trade anywhere, then I can take it without it being like a actual looking like a reversal. So now if I measure this dealing range right here from this low to this high, we're right at equilibrium at the moment. Good morning, Enrico. Good morning, Mary, Steve, Sharif. Yeah, so when I hop on here, I have to kind of go through my framework quickly, and I try to get that done within around the first 15 minutes where I explain my framework. I really want to be done explaining it within 5 to 10 minutes. That way we can focus on reading from there. And so, that's why it's crucial to have your framework done by the time, if you're going to trade, have it done at least 5 minutes before you're trading. And that way, from that point, you just, analyze what's happening. And we see how price, we took this little swing low here on the 15 minute, and price just reaching. I use that word a lot because that's always what I'm looking for. Where's it reaching to? What's it drawing to? Okay. So we're just taking this, we traded right through equilibrium here. We're just dropping at the open. So you can get rid of this. And you might say, like, if I was going to go short, where would I get short? Well, that's when you can measure the legs. So, like, let's just pretend price stops right here, for example. I would measure this high right down to this low, if that's where price stops. And then you want to take a trade above equilibrium of that leg. So, like, I would look to short around this fair value gap here. I wouldn't trade this one or this one. I would wait to see. Now, if it clearly holds and starts rejecting at one of them, then you could take one of them, but just depends. And this one, let's see, this is 933. So I'm going to mark my first presented fair value gap. This is 930, which would be this one up here. And if price just runs all the way to my sell side liquidity, then I don't get a trade on that move, and I'll wait to see. I kind of have to reanalyze at that point. Let me get rid of this. And let me go back to here. This is just dropping in, and it's pretty close. It's probably just going to run right out of that sell side liquidity. Because at this point, it's crossed equilibrium. And if you don't know, equilibrium is the midpoint of a dealing range. So if my dealing range is from this low to this high, equilibrium is here. I want to take a trade from premium to discount. I don't want to take a trade from discount to discount. That's like buying low, selling low. It doesn't do very good. Now, if you think if you anticipate it to continue running short, then, maybe you could do that. But at that point, you would want to measure a lower range, right? So like maybe this high to this low, something like that. But yeah, for myself, if we just run this sell side liquidity or this one, then I'll kind of have to reanalyze and see where I think price is going. We have this fair value gap here. So I do start preparing myself to look for other areas just in case, because, you know, some days price just goes. It just runs and runs, and you're like, okay, where's it going? And let's see, we have that one. We have this sell side liquidity. We have this fair value gap here. So I don't think, if we do just continue running down, I would wait and see if we sweep this area and head up. But you see how price, it reached and now it's coming back up. Good morning, Rich. And we have not taken that sell side liquidity yet. So right here, this is where you can get, where some people can get trapped in thinking price is going to go long. If you get like a market structure shift and, you know, we invert, which we did immediately invert this last gap here, right? So we inverted that, and then you might get a fair value gap here and it might head up, but that's where people get trapped and tricked into thinking it's going to go up. There's no reason for price to stop right here in the middle of nowhere. This is why I say price does not just stop in the middle of nowhere. I don't see any reason why price would just stop here. It could pull back, but then continue. About just under 3 minutes for this bar to close. And this is where I was talking about the opening bar gap. If we do get a big opening bar fair value gap here, I don't hold a lot of weight to it because this is just like an opening move momentum. Price could trade back into it. He can trade through it. And then if I do look at that higher time frame, you know, this is where we took all this liquidity right up here, right? And dropped. Now, if we do take sell side liquidity and then we start heading back up, where could it go? Well, I would look at, I mean, this volume imbalance sitting up there. But that's if it went back up. I don't know that it will actually do that yet. But yeah, this would be the area I'm looking for it to come down to at the moment. And this is displacement. Obvious displacement, right? Like it just shot down. 1 minute chart here. And you see how people can get tricked on this. And I've seen it happen. You have this inversion. It's like, okay, we got an inversion, immediately inverted. And then you have a fair value gap. And then you take this fair value gap long right here. But the framework is not telling me. Now, what could happen is because I am expecting a pullback, I mean, that could be a scalp. But to me, that's a low probability one, right? Because if I measure this leg here, you could take it back up to equilibrium. I mean, that's a big trade, but to me, that's a lower probability because it could come right up into this one and drop. It can come here and drop. It could come here and drop. It can go in any of these and drop. Because the main reason I say that is because here, it does not just stop in the middle of nowhere. Let me look at the 5 minute chart. Okay, we do have a 5 minute gap there. So there's always a reason. If you don't find a reason, then it'll continue down. So that's my point exactly right here. It doesn't just stop in the middle of nowhere for no reason. Well, it stopped in this 5 minute gap. There we go. There's our reason. We're investigators in this trading. We got to look for reasons why price is doing what it's doing. But again, we're too close to this sell side. This is too strong of a sell side liquidity for me to believe it's not going to go through there. 1 hour above that. Let's check the 1 hour. Yeah, we have that 1 hour gap there. Now, and that's another thing. On the higher time frame, you see how we took these highs and we're reaching back down into this 1 hour gap. That could be a bullish on the 1 hour signal. But I still think let's see, we have 14 minutes for this to close, this 1 hour to close. I still think we're too close. We ran too close into the sell side. This sell side liquidity is just too clean for me. We took buy side. Now we should run this sell side here. And that's why I'm not looking at this long. We took this swing here. I mean, this would be a valid long. Right here. Because we took this swing now, and we are displacing up. So in this area, you could get long there. I'm not saying that's wrong. You know, there's not, if you know where, that's the thing that I love about ICT concepts, is there's really no wrong. If you know what price should do, then you could trade it how you want, right? So like you can get long here and just say, I'm gonna take it back up to the middle of this leg right there. I'd prefer, because I feel like this would be a little bit of a higher resistance and a lower probability trade than looking for the short to run through this sell side liquidity here. Just me personally. So I'm looking at this 5-minute fair value gap here as kind of like a bounce. And also this area is a little too early for me to take a trade as well. Like time-wise. This here, 9:43, 9:45, like... So I could... I'm mainly looking for price to retrace back up to at least this area right in here. This 15-minute gap would now be an inversion. If I go to the 15-minute, here's this would be a mitigation if it reaches right up here. I'm going to watch this low, see if price taps that. All this would be an inversion as well. I don't think we reach back up there, though. I don't think we reach back up into here. Here's that line. We just hit that mitigation there. I'm not going to short just yet, though, because I want to wait and see where price holds. And also, like, for example, let's say I go short somewhere. Where's my stop? Like, you need a very large stop. So I'm going to wait. It's pushing up, pushing up. We have all, it could stop at any of these areas. Here's hitting equilibrium. Now we're back up in the premium of this leg. Here's our first presented fair value gap as well. This fair value gap right here is the one that I really like. This area up into here. But you can't, I'm not just going to go short right now. Because I need a... I need a good place to put my stop. Which you can always put it above the bars that created fair value gaps. But in this case, you know, we have a bunch of them in a row. Here, here. So I want to see what it does up in this area. It might come right up into this inversion here. I didn't think it would pull up that far, but hey, we'll see. That's if you look at his ICT's 70% OTE. Let's see. Oh man, I thought I still had it on there. Let's see. I think it's 70.6 or something like that. I don't remember. Just go 70. Right here. This is his optimal trade entry. Right where the middle of that opening range gap was. So yeah, even if I like this, it never came back into this gap for me to even want to take a long there. But like I said, my bias is it's going to run down to this area. So because we have a lot of room now to this area, this is 595, 600, whatever, and we're 150 points up, you can actually wait for another, and that's what I will probably likely do. Instead of just shorting in like one of these fair value gaps, I'll wait for another, I guess, technical market structure shift, even though we kind of never really shifted up. I mean, I guess we did because we took this swing right here. So you could wait until you get another fair value gap short, right? Another entry, another, I guess, market structure shift to the short side before going short if you just want like a little bit of extra confirmation. See what it does if it hits this fair value gap. Because see, if we have this swing and we create another fair value gap in this area, I'll have somewhere to put my stop. Where I know, like, okay, we have a swing. We should not come back above that swing if we displace back down. Now, if we don't get a gap here, this could be another little swing low, and then I could wait till we take that swing. Bunch of different little options. Got 20 seconds, so we'll see if this little fair value gap happens here. And we are inside this first inversion that I mentioned. And that 15 minutes, so I'm actually going to go short in here. If we get, and that's where that mitigation is. This is a new 1 minute gap inversion, and I would have my stop above the high, and I would target the sell side liquidity. Be a fairly large trade, 748. Yeah, actually that's very large. So I'd probably 748. That's a big stop too. Let me see. I may, my copier's not set up. So normally I would drop size, my contract size right now, but my copier reset and it doesn't have all my contracts the way I normally like it. Yeah, I'm not gonna have time to adjust all those. Okay. So I'm gonna have to wait a little bit. Good morning, David. Good to see you. I'm just gonna have to accept my risk because right now I don't have time to adjust my copier to, because sometimes, I don't know if y'all have ever had this, but sometimes your copier, like your ratios and all that, get reset. And I have two setups. One's my normal, and then I have another setup with reduced sizing. That way, because I follow my live account. My live account, I only trade, one micro, so I don't trade very large. So I can't go smaller than that. So I have to I have another setting on my copier to go smaller ratio. And I don't have time to adjust that just yet, because here, if I took this 1 minute fair value gap, 748, my stop would have to be up here. That's like about 40 points. And I typically, if I have to go 40 points, I'll reduce my sizing. But I don't have time to do that, so we'll see. If it might not even come back up here, though, to be honest. We'll see, though. There's plenty of room right now where I could still take a trade here to go down. This would have been a really nice one from here. But let's see what it does with this 1 minute fair value gap. Let's see if it inverts it. We're still in this 15 minute that it has not inverted. But look what I like this, how, price came down here, closed here, but then it reached all the way up here, right? And then the bar's coming down. I like that. However, I need to find an entry. We all know yeah, Chris, we all know you have that issue. Okay, so if this bar closes, we'll have a little volume imbalance on the 5 minute right here. If this bar closes down. Now we have our inversion. And then we may be getting a fair value gap right here. But let's see. Hopefully it doesn't just run away. What I would like to see is this. The problem is, I would wait. I'm going to wait to see if this area holds up first, because this would also be a pretty large stop. 674. Yeah. So this little fair value gap did not hold up. Let's see if the inversion holds here. I'm just looking for an entry to get down here. But you got to find a good entry, because if you get in at the wrong spot, it could pull back against you, and you either have to have a very large drawdown, and if not, it could potentially hit your stop. So yeah, I don't like that. Just a 1 point fair value gap. I want to wait and see if this inversion holds. And if it does, then you got to, you'll have still a pretty large stop. Because if I measure this leg where we're at right now, because it could reach back up to here. So we'll see. It's early. It's only 10 o'clock. So like if price does run and take sell side liquidity without me, then that's where I look to see where does it finish drawing down to, and then I can take look for another trade. Yeah, I would look for a long somewhere, to a pullback basically. Because you see how price on this dealing range here Pulled right up to equilibrium. Up into this area right here. Nice area to get short from. But, yeah, you could have got in at this fair value gap right here. I'm just in no rush because if you feel like you're chasing a trade or like trying to force something, that's never really a good thing. See, now, I mean, we're right here by sell side liquidity, so I'm just not going to get a trade in this move down. The best trade came right here. Right here, where equilibrium was. That's the best entry, was right there. But like I said, where's your stop? You know, price could have just kept coming up, pulling up, pulling up. So I love the volatility though. You have that volume imbalance on the 5 minute. And if this bar closes, we'll have a fair value gap right here on the 5 minute. So that could definitely be a target. If it takes sell side liquidity and we get a shift up, then this could be a target. So this gap, this 15-minute gap finally got inverted. So it did invert that. So inverted all that. Everything on this leg up inverted. A little fair value gap here has not hit sell side liquidity. Be about 30 points. Just reached back up into it. However, where's your stop? That's the thing. Target would be at equilibrium from this short. Where are you? I don't know. I don't understand what you're saying, Chris. Yeah, see how it's reaching up into this little fair value gap? You could short there and head to sell side liquidity. You know, just got to have a stop. Where's your stop? 635. Stop would want to be up here, at least in this area. 50-point stop. No, thank you. And actually, while I'm not taking a trade, let me adjust my other copier. Three. 58. 5. 59. 60. 61 is 3. 59. 60. 61. 62 is 1. 63, 64, 65. Yeah, it's I have 20 PAs, so it takes a minute. 66, 67, 5. 69. Okay, the rest are 3. Okay. Save settings. Okay, cool. Hey, Richard. Got you an LRE for 50 ticks. Sweet. Good job. Yeah, see here, this little 1 minute fair value gap, you'd be in some nice profit for sure. I didn't take it though because, like I said, where's my stop? I always got to know before I take a trade, where's my stop? Where's my target? If I took this entry, my stop would have to be at least up here. And this 35, man, we're talking about 40, 50 points. And unless if I reduce my sizing, I can't take this trade. But then 40, 50 points, I need to make sure I get that going short. Which, 40 points down to this one. And I mean, yeah, there's plenty of room. 634 down if you go to the lower one. But it may not go straight there. But that's not something that I'm, really willing to risk. His 5 minute inverted as well. So now I want to see, since we took this sell side liquidity, how fast does it get out of there? Does it continue down, or does it do what it's doing now? Take the sell side liquidity and immediately come up and start trading above it. If it does that, then it's more than likely this is a sweep, and we may start coming up, at least pull back to somewhere in the area. Doesn't necessarily mean it's just going to run long, but if we measure this leg now, up in this area is equilibrium. Is that what you were trying to say, Chris, earlier? So, then you could target here or the first imbalance after equilibrium, which would be this volume imbalance. So let's see. Let's see if we immediately are going to come back up. We drew down. I mean, there's still more sell side liquidity that looks pretty nice, this area here. So we'll see. It may pull back up first and then go through. But at the moment, it's looking like a sweep of this area. So we'll see. We'll see if it continues down or if it never comes back down below this sell side liquidity. If it does not come down below this again and we get a nice setup long, then I'll take a long and try to target equilibrium of this leg or this volume imbalance on 5 minute. We have to look though, because there is a 5 minute fair value gap right here as well that it could cause some problems to try to go back up through. Oh, and this one right here as well. So we might not really get along yet. Just got to wait. And it's that 15-minute inversion. So, yeah, this would be a crucial area to see if it can go back above. And kind of a mitigation right here as well. So it may not go back above that before, you know, it might go down to the sell side first. So waiting game still. There's no setup anyways. No market structure shift, none of that. Now, if it does keep going lower, that's where I said we have, after this area, I mean, next place is going to be yesterday's low. And then at that point, that's where I would look at this wick right here. So we have this little bit of swing set up. If we displace up and through this, then I would look to go long. Showing a willingness doesn't mean it will. Right now, it's just showing a willingness. And I would take it. You gotta be careful in this 5-minute fair value gap. It depends how much I have available, or how much room I have. Because I always go for the low hanging fruit. So we took these highs. We have a little bit of a shift going on now. Rebalancing this 5-minute completely. See, this is the displacement that I like up and through. If we get a fair value gap here, that's where I would look to go long back up into this area. Big stop. So I am going to go reduced sizing. It's very volatile today. Okay, got it all set. Now, I mean, if it just runs all the way up there, I might not get any entry to the long side either. Okay, it's hitting equilibrium of this leg right here. Looks like we're trying to invert this 5-minute gap. Now, if we get a fair value gap right here and price comes into this one, I won't go long right away because it could reach back down into this lower one. Okay, we got the 5-minute inversion here. Let me get rid of this one so clear it up a little bit. So like here we have this fair value gap as well. I'm not gonna, if it comes back down into this, I'm not gonna immediately go long. Now, if it just keeps reaching up and if it takes this imbalance, then I might not get an entry there either. And you see how this was a sweep. You see how it went down, immediately came back above this sell side liquidity, reached right back to it, kissed it, and said goodbye. That's what I like to see. However, displaced up and never came back down. So, yeah, I might not get anything if it just keeps running everywhere. Just zooming all over the place. All right, hit that 5-minute volume imbalance now. It may go back for this up here. Let's see. Got to figure out where's price going to now. But yeah, see here on the 1 hour. Oops. How we did reach down into. Let's see. Never mind. I was looking at something else. Let me see if we're gonna. See if we're gonna go back into this area. If it hits this fair value gap, I'm not immediately going long yet. I need to see if it's going to reach down and respect any of this. More than likely, I would like to see it hit down here. I want to see it reach down into here and what price does here. And then that would be, this would be the area that I'd be looking for the long. At the same time, it very well could, because we didn't go down further to this sell side liquidity. So, and there's not much reason for it to go up. It could want to come up to here, but I doubt it. So let's see. Let's see if it drops into this area, what happens. About to be 10:20. Should see some movement there. But like yesterday, got to be careful if it drops and creates a new fair value gap down, even though we do have a shift to the long side. But only on the 1-minute chart. There's no market structure shift on the 5-minute, but there is a potential because it inverted this 5-minute gap and will be leaving a new one. So let's see. See how it tapped this one. And this is not the one that I'm worried about, because when you have a double, it could reach down further. You got to wait, and you do risk, if you wait, you do, of course, risk missing a trade. But I'd always rather miss a trade than get a terrible entry and have a major drawdown or a big loss, because I know price could reach down to this area. Thank you. Thank you. This weather change is getting me. Finally getting a little cold. So this would be an order block here as well, but yeah, see, this is the risk. If I take it here, then you risk getting some major drawdown. If you don't take it, you risk missing a trade. 38, yeah, nice. It was like 44 for us. But still going to warm up to 70. We had no winter. Look how perfectly this lines up right here on this wick. It's just I noticed these things. This one right down to mean threshold and went up. We have not reached into this. We have this 5-minute fair value gap here overlapping. Another reason why I think we could come back further in. But I want to see, because it very well could just continue down and take this sell side liquidity. So you gotta have some little patience today. All right, as it's pushing, I don't want to just hop in yet. I want to see the reaction here. All right, now I want to see what it does right here. And we have an order block right here. So does it tap this area and go up, or do we now continue down? Looking at the 15-minute chart, we're right at about, let's see. Hold on, I don't want to go to it just yet. This is what you don't want to see. You don't want to see, if you're looking long, you don't want to see it do this. Here's the order block right there. So let's see what happens at that order block. Okay, so exactly why I wait, because since it didn't reach this sell side liquidity yet. In that 5-minute fair value gap that happened, it immediately inverted that. See here? It inverted this one, then it went long, left a new one, immediately inverting this one. Potentially. Still got, well, it's about to. And now we have this one. And these inversions, just a lot of volatile mess. I'm going to try to clean it up a little bit here. Where if we pull back in this area, then like I said, we have not gone short through this sell side liquidity here. So it very well could run down further. Let's see what happens right in this area of this 5-minute inversion. Try to clean some of this up. Wrong one. If it respects the middle of this 5-minute inversion and we have this fair value gap here, then that might be an area I look to short. Because it's not showing a willingness to go long yet. It might run all the way through here. There we go. Clean it up a little bit. Yeah. I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to get anything. Markets, just running without coming back to any entries for me today. See now, and it's already about to be 10:30, so I'm more than likely not going to get a trade. Because it's gonna, if it hits down there and down here and sweeps this sell side liquidity, I mean, it's gonna be a while until, you know, we get an opportunity to go the other way, in my opinion. And I don't have really a reason for a continuation from this point. Like, yeah, it could come down to here where I marked that wick, and it could come down to yesterday's low. But for me to take a continuation through there, it's not very, very strong. Yep, taking sell side liquidity now. The good, like all the sell side liquidity now. Check this 1 hour chart. I'm going to look at this wick right here. Okay, taking the mean threshold of it. This is a day that I'm sure if people are trend trading and they're following, they're going with this trend, they're crushing it today. Sucks? What sucks? You just said sucks. Chris, what sucks? Yes. What sucks? You say it sucks. I know you like to trade. you go crazy if you don't get a trade. Not taking a trade means I did not lose money. See my P&L right there? Blank. Oh, speaking of that, so that competition, I knew I'm not going to win, but I figured I can. So what I did yesterday is I said, you know what, I'm going to swing trade that thing. on the and use the 15-minute chart and swing trade it with 5 minis. And that's what I did yesterday. And I got in down here, and I ran it all the way up to this fair value gap right here. And made like almost 20 grand on that competition. Here it is right here. So I'm ranked 55. It's changing because I haven't taken a trade today. But look at these guys. Man, over 100K, 200K. That's crazy. That's why I know I'm not going to win at all, because I need to trade the long run on competitions. If I do that, I'll win the long game. But yeah, so I was swing trading just to kind of see what would happen. But yeah, top 20. I mean, top 20 is not too far away. You get some nice wins. Top 40, ranked 55, 56 now. I was 49 or 47, but like I said, I know for a fact I'm not going to win that. Just kind of playing on that one, just trying to get some swing trading in. Yeah, that's what they did. Like, they literally hold all day. I have that leaderboard just up and kind of looking at it, and they're never not in a trade. They just hold that thing all the time, like the whole day, all day. And then they'll get out and in and out, in and out, in and out. Like, they're never not trading. So, all right, here we go. We're right down here. It's 10:30. So I'm not going to get a trade. I'm going to go ahead and call it my day, because it's been my hour. This is about the time I stop. And yeah, I didn't get anything. And that happens sometimes, you know. So ran down, pulled up, ran down here. I was looking for a long in this area to take it right up to that imbalance. That's why I mentioned that imbalance. That would be a target. So the market, and that's the things that suck sometimes, right? Like, I know where the market's going for the most part. You never know 100% certainty, right? But, you know, I said I'm looking at this area. Price ran down. Could you just like hop in somewhere? Of course you could. But then I need to follow my money management plan as strict as possible. So if I just hop in somewhere and I don't have a stop, I don't know where my stop is, like my risk is all over the place, I'm not going to be able to follow my plan. So I have to have my entry. I have to follow my rules. So yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah, you're welcome, Mary. And that's the thing, you know. So with trading, don't get fooled into you have to always be jumping in something. You have to take a trade every single day. And that's why y'all know I use Apex, right? So that's why I like the Apex change of the everyday request, because now I don't have to worry about that window. Oh, I missed the window. Today's the 21st, right? If I didn't have my window yesterday, or get my trade yesterday or this week, you know, you could say you might be impatient, jump in stuff you shouldn't to try to get some trades, try to meet that window. But then you set yourself back further. So anyways, I don't want to make this into a rant, because I can rant, but it is what it is. I don't, in the way I trade, I only trade one trade a day. I sometimes get it. I sometimes don't. I sometimes lose. I sometimes win. But I'm here for the long run, and in the long run, it's working out. I still have multiple accounts that I could take a payout from right now, but I'm trying to build them up. So, yeah. It is what it is. And there might be an entry that comes up later, you know, closer to 11 o'clock or whatnot. But like I said, I have my rules, so I don't lose my discipline. But I'll be back tomorrow. We have some news tomorrow, so should be another good volatile day. And, you know, hopefully I get an entry tomorrow. So, yeah, man, for sure. I'm keeping this stream. Like I said, here's the thing, too. When I am going to stream in the morning, I'll always have an upcoming link ready, at least by the night before. So you'll always see that. If there's not one by 9 a.m. Eastern time, that's an upcoming, then I'm not streaming that day. But the days that I do trade, that I do stream is going to be on news impact days for sure. The ones that I might not stream is when there's no news driver at all. How many day trade on your longest funded account? Let me check, actually. It's probably close to 100 by now, trading days. Let's see. Let me go to pull up my ATF real quick. Because I've had my account since May. May 17th is the first day on my 3 longest running accounts. And then, because I started all over May 17th. And then as I got payouts and I added, 2 or 3 more payouts again, added 2 or 3 more until I eventually built up 20 accounts. Let's see. Come on. It's taking a minute. See, and we took this sell side liquidity, and look where we hit. Where the body closed of that wick that I marked. Right here. And we may be shifting and may get something to the long side. Okay, ATF is taking a minute to load here. Apex trade. There we go. Okay, PA charts. Let's see. How many trading days? Now, you got to keep in mind, these accounts have been running since May 17th, but you got to keep in mind there's some days I don't get a trade or I don't take a trade, so the trading days will be lower, but May 17th is the day they started. Right back up into this little fair value gap right here and rejecting. And Apex website's running really slow today. There we go. Jeez, it's taking forever. Okay, so 90 trading days on my longest running one. Yeah, I would not have taken that short. Because we've already drawn. There's like not a draw that's very strong right now. We hit the body of that wick. I mean, it could draw down to yesterday's low, but that's not something personally that I'd be willing to risk money on. Let me see here. Call out. Okay, I mean. Okay. Just took a screenshot. And hold on, let me make sure. Okay, so these are my 2 longest running accounts, 90 trading days. You can see my drawdown is, I've already, fixed my drawdown. It's there because my accounts have some cushion, but I just want to, those are my 2 longest running. And then everything else. 84 days, 65, 56, 20, 30. But yeah. Yep. All right. Well, I'm going to call it a day here. And I'll be back tomorrow. Appreciate y'all joining in, hanging out with me to read the market. It's never a bad thing to just read the market. This stuff is what helps you get better. And you will pick up patterns. You'll learn a lot of stuff by just watching the market and not clicking buttons. So that's never a bad thing. And my P&L is flat, 0 red. So I'm happy. All right. Well, I hope that y'all have a great rest of your day. If you're going to continue trading, as always, trade well. See y'all later. See y'all tomorrow. Take care.